All right, another bizarre chapter in the LA Unified School District battle over the Miramonte Elementary School scandal. As you know, Mark Berndt with the Semen Lace cookies, it's all well known by now. He already pled no contest, got 25 years in prison. But this is all dealing with the students and their parents who filed the lawsuits against the school district. Well, we all know about that, too. We're going to talk to Brian Claypool in a moment. He's an attorney for some of the victims and their families. But now we have a man who used to be, get this title, a chief risk officer for LA Unified. His name is Greg Breed. He lives in San Bernardino. He has filed a lawsuit claiming that he was let go and he was a whistleblower over these negotiations and settlements over the Mark Berndt scandal, claiming that if you are an LA taxpayer, Unified School District, you got ripped off by some of this because it involved cronyism. He also seems to claim that some kids got money that were not abused by Mark Berndt, that it was handled ineptly. It's bizarre. We're going to see what Brian Claypool knows about this story and Greg Breed's lawsuit. So let's get him on the show.
Brian, welcome to the John and Ken Show.
Hey, thanks for having me back, guys.
All right.
I'll try to stay focused. But I think I just saw Bruce Jenner come on the Ellen show here. So give me a second.
All right, that's not a good sign either.
Okay,
then.
Okay,
all right,
okay.
guys don't go on that show.
That's right. You're right. Except Justin Timberlake does.
All right, let's start with the first thing that he's claiming, like lawyer cronyism. What's he saying happened here?
Yeah, what is that exactly?
Well, I think what he's saying is one of the general counsel for the LAUSD hired two lawyers, one set of lawyers to represent the LAUSD and another set of lawyers to represent the individual defendants we sued in the case. And there's an allegation that the general counsel who hired one of the law firms used to work at the law firm, and that he chose that law firm at a much higher hourly rate than he could have hired some other lawyers who are capable at a much lower rate.
In fact, he claims these outside attorneys were paid between $390 to $450 an hour, more than twice the $175 an hour rate that the board typically pays.
So,
and it's approved list.
So he hires his buddies at twice the rate.
That's what Greg Breed is claiming, and I know in the case for a fact that I know the legal fees for LAUSD in this case at this point have to be at least over $3 million or so. So, it's an expensive case. One thing I do want to say though is that the lawyers we've been up against are competent lawyers. They are good lawyers, and I think what your listeners need to know in this case is you could hire the best lawyer in town at $1,000 an hour on this case, and they would lose this case. I mean, it's a bad plane that's going down fast. So I think the bigger issue about this lawsuit that's important to me is the allegation that all the folks over at LAUSD, their general counsel, did not evaluate these claim forms that all these kids filed in advance of the mediation. So in other words, they're just offering like a cookie cutter amount of money to everybody, and they weren't really analyzing the cases separately on an individual basis. And I think that's really, really important for people to know.
Yeah, he's claiming one pupil got $470,000 and didn't even attend classes with Berndt.
Right. Well, let's contrast that to one of my clients, one of my little girls that's going to trial April 8th. She was abused, guys, over 50 times. She was abused 3 times a week for over a 4-month time period. So over 50 times, right? The school allowed Berndt to do this to her. And we're supposed to sit down and take their cookie cutter, amount of money that they offered. That's since day one when I talked to you guys, I made that point. And I said every case needs to be analyzed separately. Each kids might have been abused many times. They suffer trauma differently or uniquely, and that's what I think Greg Breed is suggesting.
If you pay $500,000 for a relatively minor indiscretion.
Mm-hmm.
Are you now setting a scale, a floor, that somebody who's been abused 50 times is going to get far, far more in a settlement, or far, far more in a jury verdict?
There's no question about it, and that's a big mistake that they made. The LAUSD should have looked at each case individually, and they didn't take the time to do that. And now they're going to suffer some grave consequences when we go to trial.
Yeah, because
I will share with you.
Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to share with you a piece of breaking news. I mean, you're the first to hear about this, but we just learned this yesterday in this case. I mean, surprise, surprise. Every time I've told myself it can't get any worse for LAUSD, guess what? It does. Well, we finally, after months, got our hands on the investigative file from the sheriff's department. I was on your show a couple months back, and I said, we got to get that file, right? We finally got it. And guess what was in there? There is an interview by the LA County Sheriff's Department with a former teacher at Miramonte who in 1993, 1993, went to the principal of Miramonte and said, Mark Burns exposed his genitals to me and his pubic hair to me and kids in front of the entire class. She reported that in 1993. The principal of Miramonte tells her, oh, we all know he's a crazy guy, but we really can't do much about it because he's tenured.
No.
Can you believe that? Yeah. Can you believe that?
All right. So he was exposing his genitals to kids in the class in 93.
93, exactly.
And who reported it to the principal?
A teacher, a co-teacher. She had called Byrne up she said, hey, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my class is a little bit unruly. And she was a new teacher at Miramonte, and Byrne says to her, why don't you come on over into my class, and I'll show you how to take care of the kids, right? So she goes over into his classroom thinking he's going to give some, advice or whatever, and he sits down, get this, he sits in his chair in front of the whole class with these dolphin-like shorts with no underwear and exposes himself and puts his leg up over his genital area and exposes himself to her and the whole class. She says in her statement to the sheriff, she gave a vivid detail of what he did in front of the class to make sure that the principal took it seriously to get him out of the classroom. And nothing was done except, we can't do anything about it. Our hands are tied. So I don't know how much worse it can get. We're gonna take her deposition out in Colorado Springs. She moved to Colorado. So
that just upped the settlement by quite a bit for you guys, or the judgment.
I am totally speechless. I can't believe that. I mean, I do believe that. There's a lot of detail there. You can't make that up. Seriously?
All right, Brian, hang on, because we got to take a quick break. We'll talk more. Brian Claypool is on with us, and of course he represents a number of the Miramonte School victims in this lawsuit against LA Unified. This is the Mark Byrne case. He's going to go to trial with a number of them pretty soon, and he just gave us a bombshell that there has been a report that another teacher in 1993 told administrators that Byrne was exposing himself in the classroom.
John and Ken Show, John Cobelt and Ken Champeau, KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. Talking with attorney Brian Claypool. He's representing some of the victims and family members from the Miramonte sex abuse scandal involving Mark Byrne. He was the guy serving semen cookies. And Brian Claypool just dropped a bombshell. They finally got a hold of an LA County Sheriff's report.
Yeah, they're getting ready for trial because they did not reach settlements as some other supposed victims did with the school district.
So he says that 20 years ago, a fellow teacher asked Mark Byrne for some advice on how to calm an unruly class. Mark Byrne invited her into his class and proceeded to expose his genitals to the teacher and to the class. I guess he pulled down his dolphin shorts.
Yeah, detail to this.
He was wearing no underwear, and the teacher got a look, and so did the class, and I guess that quieted everybody down. Reported that to the principal of Miramonte in 1993, and the principal said, well, he's got tenure. So
he's just, a strange guy.
Yeah, he's just a crazy guy, so he's showing his genitals off to the kids. Brian, that's insane. Are you there?
Well, yeah, I'm here. I'm just as shocked as you hearing you explain it. That's why it took me a little while to respond. I will tell you this. What kind of pathetic message does that send to the community? That if you want to be a child predator in Los Angeles, then go get a job at an LAUSD school, get tenured, and have a free-for-all with any kids you want in that school. Are you kidding me? That's the message that's being sent by the LAUSD, and that is a sorry excuse.
Well, if they covered up Byrne 20 years ago, they must have covered up dozens and dozens of other guys, other creeps who did God knows what.
Yeah. Let me give you some more bombshell information, because you guys had the pleasure of having me on the show. 1983. How about this? It gets worse. We finally got a hold of his personnel file, Byrne's personnel file. there was a note in his file, very hard to read, but we finally figured it out. The note says in 1983, Burnt, I'm looking at my notes here, field trip, pants pulled down at field trip, need to talk to him. What? Are you kidding me? That's 1983. That's before he was tenured, probably. So what kind of sorry excuse are they going to give us now?
Pants pulled down at a field trip? He must have been in his early mid-20s then.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. So
well, yeah, these guys are like this from teenage years. Yeah, people with like sexual deviances and perversions, they've always had them. They never go away. That's the way their brain is wired.
Yeah, let me validate that point. Great point, because here's another piece of information we got from the file. Thank goodness. When the sheriff's department served a search warrant on Mark Burnt's apartment when the case broke, they found bondage videos on his computer. We have the bondage videos now, but it gets worse. What he was doing was he had the video, the pictures of women who were blindfolded, their hands tied to the chair, and then there were pictures of some of the kids who were victims. And what the sheriff figured out was, and what we believe happened was, Burnt was actually reenacting with the children what it showed in the bondage video. So talk about somebody who was very sick and perverted.
Wow. Was this guy ever married? Was he ever married or anything?
No, he was single.
He lived with his mother?
He was single, but no, I think he was single on his own. But here's another thing too. We deposed some kids who went to Miramonte in 1990, 1991. We found 3 kids who there was a report of Burnt having masturbated in front of the class in 1990. So we found 3 of the kids who were involved in this, and they said that that Burnt also used to hang out at like a local Mexican restaurant, like not far from the school, and would kind of like try to like lure kids into the restaurant, even though they're not supposed to be in there. I mean, this is how bad it got. I mean, it's like anybody with a walking pulse and who's not blind. I mean, you could not have missed that.
Well, didn't they find a jar of Vaseline in his desk?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Every child who's had their deposition taken has said that they saw the Vaseline on his desk. It gets worse. We also have a child in 2009 who said that she saw the principal at that time of the school walk into the classroom when Burnt was videotaping the kids. He tells the kids, "Oh, I'm doing a documentary," right? He has a video camera up on a desk. The principal walks in, sees it, and then looks at Burnt and says, "Oh, well, gee whiz, I don't think you should be doing that. You know, we might get in trouble." Right?
And what was he filming then? Was it the cockroaches? What was it?
He was just filming the kids, I think, for his own pleasure, like to take the video home. He was proclaiming it to be. But you can't videotape kids. That's a red flag. You should immediately remove that.
Yeah, that's not good.
So nobody cared. You're talking about stories that cover 30 years. Nobody cared. Nobody.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And let me leave you with this before I get done. I mean, we're going to find this teacher in Colorado Springs. And it all adds up. In this investigative report, the sheriff's investigator says that the teacher tells him that she overheard Burnt on numerous occasions in the playground area making racial comments about Hispanics and blacks, that they're trash, and the kids that were abused. You know, we have an African American girl as a client, and most of the kids, if not all, are Hispanic. And he also says something to this effect. This is interesting, and it makes sense. Burnt also says to this teacher, "Oh, you know, Hispanic girls are only pretty until they hit 5th grade, and then they get this starch or fat effect, right?" And you know what's eerie about that comment, if it's truthful, is that most of these kids, if not all, I can't say all, all of our kids are in 3rd and 4th grade. Can you believe how eerie that comment is?
That's creepy. All right, Brian.
So he had a specific age for specific reasons in his.
That's why I like to teach that grade. All right, thanks for talking to us again. We'll be getting another update as you prepare for trial.
Oh, I hope this goes to trial, boy.
Well,
I really hope this goes to trial.
They couldn't settle, so they're going to trial unless they get the offer they want. It's Brian Claypool, attorney for some of the Miramonte school victims of the former teacher Mark Burnt.